Absolutely. It starts, restarts.
So, Andrew, you're known in the world as the world expert on manufacturing colostrum. So, my first question is, why are you in this world? What brought you here?
Well, I don't know if I'm the expert in anything. I'm just, that's my job, is making colostrum in large quantities. So really, I'm from New Zealand.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cows down there and a lot of sheep as well, probably more sheep than humans, but that's another story. I was born on a dairy farm. And one of the things was, one of my jobs as a kid was to take the colostrum from the cows that I just calved and then feed it to the calves. So I knew when I was a kid that milk is like this white substance and then colostrum is this yellow substance. So I knew something was different, and I knew that the colostrum had to be given to the calves for them to survive, because they couldn't just survive on milk alone.
I've heard that before. If you don't give a newborn calf colostrum, they die.
Right, that's right, exactly right. And that's the same for all mammals. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're a mammal in Africa or a cat or a dog or a human. I mean, we're all mammals. I mean, mammals have been around for about 265 million years. You know, and we've developed this way of being able to produce this compound to start life, because colostrum basically it's the first food that we get when we're born. I mean, it's the perfect food. You know, it's something that is that we need. It's not only a repair mechanism for the gut, but actually it starts the body. So when we're born, that's a physical process.
So the first 3 days, 3 to 5 days of mother's breast milk for humans, it's not milk.
No.
Right? It's colostrum.
No, it's got some milk components in it, and then over the period of the days after birth, it will transition into milk. We call that transitional milk. But this, you know, we're born into this world. It's not until we're passively fed colostrum that starts our immune system. It says to our body, now we have to develop our own immune system. We're no longer protected by a mother's womb. Here it is, go. It's a restart, it's a start, and in fact, it's important for adults and everybody to take it, because we need to restart our immune system. You know, it's not just we start the baby's immune system, but we need to restart adults' immune system. And it has all sorts of wonderful components in it.
Which is why adults can take colostrum, is because it restarts or it activates, turns on the genes for the immune system to function better.
Absolutely. It starts, restarts. It's like restarting a computer. You know, 90% of the problems in a computer can be fixed by restarting it.
You know, I've had that problem with my iPhone so often. You know,
well,
when it's not working right, just shut it down, reboot it, and start it over.
Yeah, that'll take it back to the iPhone store, you know.
Yes, right.
You know, but mainly it can be fixed.
Yeah.
So, but also colostrum contains all sorts of things. So there's thousands of different things in colostrum. So firstly, the primary ingredient is immunoglobulins. Now, immunoglobulins are antibodies that have been developed by the animals. And we just choose to collect colostrum from cows because that's the most abundant source, but we could get it from any other mammal, because essentially the peptide sequencing is very similar in all mammals. So immunoglobulins are the most important part, and they're exposed to pathogens. Those antibodies are given to us, and it helps us because we're in the same environment to actually help control those pathogens in the gut. Because one of the problems in the Western world is our gut has a lot of pathogens in it, and we have 80% bad bacteria and 20% good bacteria. So what we're trying to do is reverse that. We want 80% good bacteria, 20% bad, because the microbiome is very important in the overall health of the body. I mean, there are more bacteria in our gut and in our bodies than with cells in our body.
Yeah.
It's just that important. And that third brain, you know, controls us a lot of the time, which is the gut. So healing the gut's important, maintaining their integrity of the tight junctions, keeping healthy. And there's a big movement right now about improving gut health. Well, gut health is important. You know, we need to heal our gut, because our gut is like a skin.
Yeah.
You know, like skin. If you scratch your skin, you're going to get infected.
Strong enough to protect you.
Right.
That's why two people scratch their skin, one will get an infection, one won't.
Right.
Right? Same for the gut.
Depends how well your immune system is functioning.
Right.
So we have immunoglobulins and colostrum we talked about. We also have things like lactoferrin in there. Lactoferrin is good because it regulates iron uptake in the body, which is great for infants as well. But the issue is with lactoferrin, it'll actually take the iron or lipopolysaccharides from bacteria and kill that bacteria. We want to maintain low levels of harmful bacteria in the gut, so lactoferrin will actually take that and destroy the bacteria.
Now that's a little geeky,
okay,
right? But it's critically important to understand.
Yeah.
So lactoferrin, a component in colostrum, one of the components of colostrum, actually pulls the iron off of the bad bacteria and the exhaust of the bad bacteria called lipopolysaccharides, or LPS. It pulls the iron off so the bacteria dies.
Yes, basically. That's how you can control. Same purpose as the immunoglobulins. They do the same sort of thing. So we have the immunoglobulins, we have the lactoferrin, and we also have growth factors. Now, these growth factors, there's half a dozen in there, which are really useful in actually repairing the gut. Now, there's a good study done by Professor Ray Playford in Imperial College in London, and he's done a lot of work in this area, and he's actually isolated specific growth factors from colostrum and given it to animal studies, and you can see through histology that the repair of the gut happens within about 6 weeks of just taking those growth factors. And those growth factors are actually in colostrum. So we have this repair mechanism to repair the gut, which is important because if we have large holes in our gut,
yes,
then we have macromolecules, our food going in there, creating food allergies, autoimmune disease, all sorts of conditions. It's important just to maintain the integrity and the health of the gut. If you look at a human gut, if you lay it out on a square, it's about 1 square meter. But if you actually look at it under a microscope with the microvilli that's in there, it's about a tennis court.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the absorptible area. So
that's the surface area of the gut. It's the size of a tennis court.
Right. So if you have a scarred gut, your absorptible area is probably about the size of a 1 square meter, which is about 1%. So people that have a scarred gut, and when they get older, our gut gets scarred, and then we ended up only absorbing about 1% of the nutrients. So we have this malnourishing happening because we're not able to absorb nutrients.
Right.
But when you have a healthy gut, we're absorbing about 17% of the nutrients in our food through the villi and microvilli in the gut, which is great. So we want to heal the gut through those growth factors are in there, which are really great to maintain the integrity of the gut. And the final thing that's in the colostrum are these peptides. Well, there's about 1,900 different types of protein-based peptides that we think in colostrum. Now, each of them are different, and each of them have a specific function in the body.
Yes.
Of how to help the immune system, how to reduce oxidative stress, how to improve function. There's about, I think one of the papers I read, there was 58 different microbiological networks in the body that these peptides actually affect.
Wow.
It's just a really complex product.
Yes.
It's a perfect food, if you like.
Yes.
It's software for the cell to reprogram it.
You had shared with me before we started the cameras that you are taking some of the components of colostrum and putting them into formulas for infants and children and halting diarrhea.
Well, we can't use it for infants. It's not approved. It's not GRAS for infants, so we've got to be careful with what we say.
I see.
What we can do. But generally, people above the age of 4, we can use it for helping normalize stool frequencies. But we don't. It's not supposed to be used in infant formula. The best thing that we need to use for infants is obviously a mother's milk.
Yes.
The first 6 months of life should be used for mother's milk. Now, if the mother can't breastfeed, there are infant formulas out there that are produced in the world that actually mimic very closely to what human milk is. At least they try to. So, but it's very important to know there's a difference between, we don't want to give the kids colostrum because it's not GRAS approved yet. We're working on that process. It should be implemented within the next year or two, and then we'll be able to talk about things we can do with it. We've got to be a little bit careful about treating and curing and all that. It doesn't treat or cure. It just maintains the health, maintains gut integrity, and we are able to stay healthy. I mean, I myself take about a crazy amount, 100 grams a day. I'm a guinea pig.
That's about 7 scoops, 7 to 8 scoops.
I just want to see how much a human can take.
Right.
So what better person than to try it myself, be the guinny pig.
Yeah. And you've been doing this for years.
And I feel healthy.
Yeah.
My wife takes it, her kids take it, her family takes it, and everybody should be taking it.
Your doctors tell you that, and I happen to know this, that you're as strong as a horse, right?
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah. I mean, my blood work looks good.
Yeah, right. Right.
So I'm sure my telomeres are healthy.
Yeah.
But I feel good. I feel great. And it's important for other people to feel good too. And don't be too concerned that it's from cows. People can say, "Oh, well, I'm dairy intolerant." Well, maybe, but colostrum may help that. It should be for everybody.
One of the things when people ask me about colostrum and they say that I have a dairy sensitive, I say, "Mrs. Patient, here's my suggestion. Let's use the colostrum for a couple of months. As long as it doesn't cause any problems for you, you don't get bloated, you don't get any gas, any stomach pains. We've just found out that you're sensitive to dairy. And get the milk out, get the cheese out, get the ice cream out, all of that. But let's use the colostrum because you turn on so many genes in the gut to heal. It's Mother Nature's way of healing the gut. For a newborn, mom's colostrum is what turns the genes on for the intestinal permeability to heal. So, Mrs. Patient, let's see if we can do it for a couple of months. Then, maybe we're done with it for a while.
Right. And, you just try a small amount. Then the safety studies that have been done in colostrum, typically you'll see between 3 or 5% of an allergy happening, which is really just like a Herxheimer type reaction.
Right.
And what most people have done that experience that type of reaction, they just drink plenty of water and flush out those toxins so they don't get secondarily deposited. Rash, you feel nausea, but that happens rarely. And if you just drink it and flush those endotoxins out, because what's happening is the toxins are actually coming into the body, and if you don't flush them out, then you may suffer some secondary symptom. But it's just really important to know that colostrum is used for everybody. You should take it every day. I mean, the microbiome is changing every 2 or 3 days. So you should actually try to take colostrum on a daily basis as a powder, as a supplement. And that's what it is. It is a supplement. It's a food ingredient, and it's just used to help maintain health. And not only just the immune system, but neurological health. It maintains the microbiological processes in the body. You feel better. And it's just a great thing to take to add to the daily regimen of a supplement or a milkshake, or add it to something.
Now, you wrote this book, Peptide Immunotherapy. It's an excellent book. It's the most comprehensive book that I've ever read on colostrum. And it's available. We'll make sure that you know where the book is and how to access it. In here you talk about some of the benefits to the brain. Can you touch on that? Right.
Well, one of the issues with as we get older, we have a lot of neurological conditions. And what really causes that? Well, as we naturally get older, these conditions do become more predominant. And one of the biggest things is oxidative stress. And these stressors, reactive oxidation, the different oxidative compounds that are produced, reactive oxidation species, nitrogen species, they're stressors that are produced by cells. When we're under stress, we produce these stressors,
so
these secondary
the stress
messengers.
hormones that get produced when we're under stress can create the production of these reactive oxygen
right.
species.
And then that can attack proteins. It can attack the lipids in our brain. Well, that if you have oxidation of lipids in the brain, that's not good. It can affect DNA. That can turn genes off and turn genes on. But actually, supplementing with colostrum has shown that it reduces these stressor compounds. Therefore, actually helps repair these types of. And I've got a paper here. I really like this review article. It's actually done actually by a couple of Texas medical professionals. It's actually called Colostrum, which is another name for peptides, PRP, colostrum peptides, if you like. An oxidative stress modulator for the prevention and treatment of age-related disorders. About 19 pages, very good summary review article.
And that's in the Journal of Alzheimer's Research.
Journal of Alzheimer's Research. And actually, this was done by a company called Regen Therapeutics a few years ago. It was started back in the 70s by Polish researchers looking at peptides and colostrum. And they found that it really worked well in Alzheimer's and neurological diseases, degenerative conditions. And they've done a lot of work over the years. And they've focused a lot on oxidative stress. And they've really found the mechanisms of how colostrum peptides specifically, work to help delay the onset of things like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, things like that. And it's all in the paper.
What really excited me about this paper when I first read it was that it talks about how colostronin, a component of colostrum, will calm down the inflammation.
Yeah.
It just calms down the inflammation. So whatever condition a person might be suffering from, if it's an inflammatory condition, when you calm down the inflammation, that condition may get better.
Yeah.
And so, and published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Research, and they say in there about arresting the degenerative process, that you just arrest it by using these colostrum compounds.
Yeah, which are colostrum peptides, basically. And the whole purpose of producing inflammation is a symptom of an imbalance in the immunological networks in the body. So there are things going on that cause inflammation. We associate ourselves with inflammation as a bad process. It is, but it's a symptom of what's actually the underlying problems of the immune system. So what we try to do is rebalance the immune system. And to do that, colostrum is a wonderful way of not only starting the immune system when you're a baby, but actually restarting it as we get older, especially rebooting the immune system. It's a very important as we get older. It may delay the onset of these types of conditions, at least according to this paper.
Yes.
By keeping those stressors, those reactive oxidation species and nitrogen species lower, so those stressors are lower, which are really secondary messengers, which act like cytokines. And that actually, those concentrations of those stresses are reduced because we can't stop stress. We're exposed to stress all the time.
Right.
And as a result of stress, that can actually cause increased permeability in the gut, stress. And it causes all sorts of issues. Stress will kill you. Well, now we understand why stress will kill you.
Some of the mechanisms by which it'll do that, and it's not just the gut, it's also the brain. The blood-brain barrier is affected.
Yeah.
Have you seen any evidence of the benefits of colostrum and its components on the blood-brain barrier?
Well, the peptides are very small. Like I said, there's about 1,900 of these different types of peptides, and they're very small. They're all less than about 10,000 molecular weight. So they're small enough proteins that can actually enter the brain. So they don't need to be methylated to actually enter the brain.
And they safely enter the brain, and they're like firefighters' hoses to put a fire out.
Right.
That they're anti-inflammatory, that these compounds calm down the inflammation.
Yeah.
That's the primary mechanism that makes colostrum such a universal tool to use.
Right.
Not just for the gut, but also for the brain and for the entire body.
Yep, that's right. And the third brain, we're focusing a lot on the microbiome now.
Yeah.
That influences the brain, the whole body. There's bacteria in there which is actually determining our behavior.
Yeah.
And we got to be aware of that. So the microbiome is very important.
Yes.
And that there's a consistent communication between the brain and the gut all the time. But just colostrum itself is just a wonderful product to take. That's a supplement. And we all should be taking it. And it's just amazing how wonderful you would feel by taking colostrum every day. It's just a wonderful product, and you should be taking it. It really will help balance your body, balance health, balance the whole processes in your body, and make you feel good, and make you live longer, live healthier, happier. I don't mind living to 100 years of age, as long as I'm healthy.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a shitty last 10 years and be miserable. I want to take colostrum. I want to feel healthy. I want to feel happy. I want to play sports. I want to keep playing golf, until I'm old, and just enjoy this wonderful life that we're all experiencing.
Amen to that. Amen. I see colostrum, as we're talking about it, I see it as liquid gold, that it, and you're quoted in peptide immunotherapy as saying this, that there are many one-note players on the shelves in health food stores to help heal the gut or calm down inflammation, but only colostrum plays the entire symphony. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I think you just said it. I don't know how I can elaborate on a it's an orchestra on a pearl. Right. Yeah, I agree. It's just it has so many different things that work and balance together. Yeah. And the key to our life is balance in everything that we do, and that includes keeping our body in balance. And if we can do that, we're happy and healthier. But colostrum is a wonderful product. It's stable. We actually deliver it in a powder form, so it will actually last a long time. We really don't try to damage it. We have special processes that we use in order to maintain the integrity at the raw state, raw colostrum level to the final powder. We'll test at each stage. If there's any damage, then we'll reject it. But we maintain the integrity of the colostrum, of the peptides, through the process, and then deliver that as naturally as we can to all of us.
Would it be correct to say that you're maintaining the potency or the impact factor of the colostrum from the raw state to the finished product?
Yeah, you have to. Mm-hmm. It's a way of being able to process it as gently as possible without trying to damage it, because this is liquid gold. This is stuff that these peptides have been around forever. We don't want to destroy them. We want to deliver them as naturally as we can to all of us. And it's a great product to take. To add, if you're not taking it now, you should start right away. The only people I don't really recommend take colostrum are people that are forced into an immune-compromised state. For example, if they have an organ transplant, and they're supposed to be on immunosuppressive medications. Don't take it, because colostrum will try to rebalance the immune system and make it stronger, which may not be a bad thing, but we haven't done the studies to show that it's safe for people that have organ transplants. Also, it's interesting because it's not really recommended for women, especially in their first trimester of pregnancy, because that is a disease state. Women go into a disease state called a Th2-dominated condition when they're pregnant, so they don't reject the fetus.
Now, what that means is that when a woman gets pregnant, the body sees the fetus as something foreign, and usually something foreign in the body, the immune system is going to go after it and attack it. But one of the mechanisms in pregnancy is that the immune system is automatically calmed down or suppressed so that it doesn't go after the fetus. And what you're saying is that in the first trimester of pregnancy, we'd be cautious about taking colostrum because you're strengthening or enhancing immune function.
Yeah, we just haven't done the studies to prove it.
Right.
It's perfectly okay to take colostrum up to when you're trying to get pregnant, because at that point you don't know if you are pregnant. And to get your body healthy before pregnancy, to get the right nutrition that you need before pregnancy, then stop it when you're trying to get pregnant. But after you've had the delivery, then start colostrum again. That's just a recommendation.
Now, to speak to your passion on this subject, we've been friends for many years, and I know a little of your story. When you were on the farm, raising cattle, milking these cows, giving these newborn calves colostrum, what was it that happened to you that you saw for the rest of your life this is what you wanted to do?
Well, as a 5-year-old, I didn't quite know exactly what I wanted to do.
Sure.
Understandably. But I think as I grew older, I think that my ancestry, if you like, is farmers. I'm a farmer. I'm an engineer, but I didn't want to get up at 3 o'clock every morning and milk cows. I leave that to my brother.
Yes.
He's doing a wonderful job. Yeah. What I like is I wanted to be able to take that experience and being able to give it to everybody in the world. Now, that was something I decided later on as I got to my teenage years and into college and all that.
What experience to give to the world?
Well, the knowledge that I had about colostrum, there's something there. It's different. And I know that when I feed the calves were happy and healthy. I mean, they would run around the paddock after they fed colostrum. They were certainly happy. And that's those triggers that are happening in the calf's brain and body to make it happy. So I thought, I'm in the dairy industry.
Then wasn't it that you also noticed that if you got sick, your dad gave you colostrum or you took colostrum?
Sure. And when we were on the farm, we always used to drink milk out of the vat. Just the raw. I mean, that's because you're on the farm. That's all you do. You did. To drive to the nearest town was half an hour away.
Yeah.
It was just you'd only go there once a month to get groceries. But being on the farm did teach you a lot about hard work and solving problems, because you couldn't. The vet they're too expensive. We had to fix our own problems. We had to mend our own fences, mend our own machinery. You become engineers. You become quite resourceful, if you like, by being from a farm, and just taking that knowledge and taking colostrum to the next level to try to deliver it to everybody, knowing what I had, what I was experiencing.
It's always surprised me, and I just get such a kick out of this. So here we have this farm boy that realized, I want to carry the message of colostrum out to the world. So you went and got a PhD. And what did you get your PhD in?
Chemical and process engineering.
Chemical and process engineering.
Yeah.
What the heck does that have to do with health?
Exactly. Well, my previous degrees before that were in chemistry and microbiology and mathematics.
Yes.
So I had a fundamental understanding of the pure science.
Yes.
Okay. Then the engineering part of it was the application of those scientific principles.
Yes.
So then, being from New Zealand, well, anybody that's got a PhD or a master's ends up probably working for Fonterra, which is the biggest dairy company. So I got that experience. And then I really enjoyed, working in that environment, and ended up just doing a lot of protein extractions over the years, and then working colostrum eventually. But it's just you learn to be resourceful as a kid. I mean, my wife, when she was young, she said, well, I want to marry a PhD farm boy. Well, she did.
Yes.
So she got what she wanted.
So she saw what she wanted, and then she went for it.
Yeah, right.
You saw what you wanted, and you get a PhD in mechanical engineering, so you could learn how and chemical process, so you could build the equipment to make the highest quality colostrum.
Yeah, yeah. And it's fun. That's what I like to do. I'm an engineer.
You really are a geek, man.
I'm a total geek.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
And the result is hundreds of thousands of people now have your colostrum available.
Probably millions now.
Oh, that's great. That's really
keeps
quite
growing.
Wonderful.
And all those people are now healthy and happy.
Yeah.
They keep taking it, because if you don't take it, you stop taking colostrum, or you'll go back to the way you felt before. Did you enjoy the way you felt before you took colostrum? If not, then keep taking it.
Yeah.
It's just restarting the computer, restarting the body, And maintaining health is very important, and especially in this world with gut health. You know, we've been talking about gut health for years. Now it's the latest thing. Yeah, you got to maintain the integrity of your gut if you want to stay healthy. It's as simple as that.
One of the questions I have for you with colostrum, and what have you seen over the years in terms of, every cell in our body regenerates, every cell. What have you seen about the types of cellular regeneration for people when they go on colostrum?
Well, typically when you go on colostrum, colostrum will reset the cell. So it reduces the stressors. And like I said, there's 58 different biological processes in the body that have been identified to help, and those processes are all balanced. So the key is balance. We want to try to slow down the aging process by eliminating those stressors and restarting the immune system. Because regeneration is very important, because it's like if you don't put oil in your car, or you don't fix the timing belt, the car degrades faster. If you look after the car, you look after your equipment, you look after your body, it helps you actually regenerate and don't damage the body. And regeneration is really, what we really want to do is, cells can divide a finite amount of time, like 83,000 times a cell can divide, whatever the number is. So if you maximize the time between cell replication or cell division, you actually will live longer. So every time that you cells divide, and they form new DNA, well, it's the ends, the telomeres, which are the ends of if you think of them like shoelaces. Every time you tie shoelaces, eventually the shoelaces will fray. Mm-hmm. So every time you do that, the telomeres will shorten. So, we're going to die at some point. We just want to maximize the time between cell replication. And if we're able to maintain our health and regenerate our health and maximize cell replication, then we're able to live longer and healthier and happier. So think of colostrum as a balancing mechanism, containing all these different types of peptides and other components that restart the immune system. And our computer, our body, will actually work much better because it's under less stress. It'll reduce the stressors. There's great information even in this paper that talks about by supplementing with cholesterol peptides actually will help eliminate those stressors. It'll actually help with memory, help with cognitive balance, reduce the onset of age-related disorders. And it's all in here. It's really
all
great.
Published.
It's all published. It's all in here. There's thousands of articles on colostrum. I just like this one in terms of neurological health because it's a good review article. Mm-hmm. And I always revert back to this when we talk about neurological balance. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When people get on colostrum and they're on it for a while, do they come back and say, people tell me I look younger. People tell me that my presence is different. And I feel my energy is better. I hear that in my practice with patients again and again and again.
Yeah, because it's important because, we have our actual age and we have our immune function age. And we can measure those. And if you can measure your immune function age and it's actually older than your actual age, then you really need to alter the way you live. Yeah. Not alter the environment, take colostrum, take other supplements that actually help balance